What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Played Out podcast. My name is Kyle, aka Critic Gator, and with me, as always, is my rules knowing co-host James. James, how are you doing?
Good. Let's say like rules thinking he knowing, because like
Rules thinking.
I say confidently what the rules are all the time, and I'm like 85% right.
Yeah, you're
It's
my
pretty
rules
good.
guy. You're like
Pretty
my
good.
rules guy on tap. I'll be like,
I gotta
James, did it work like this? And you'd be like, yeah, it worked like that. And
I
I look
gotta
at him like, not so much.
not exactly
Not
like
exactly like that. I mean, in
that.
general, kind of, but
Yeah, exactly. I got
um,
sticky brain, but like only for like 85% of it. Like the
true.
rest
You
of it, I'm
can't.
like, it's just words. Doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
can't have full sticky.
No,
Only a little sticky.
always full sticky.
Always full sticky. So anyway, this is our fourth podcast. And thematically we're going to be talking about fourth edition. I just made that connection in my head as I'm looking at the slide right now. So we're going to be talking about fourth edition of Age of Sigmar. We're going to be talking about the stuff that they've revealed to us so far, which has been they say words and we can kind of interpret those words. So they're not like, this is
Like the
exactly how
Bible.
it's going to work. They'll just say a thing, and this is us kind of being like reading the stones and trying to figure out what they mean by that. As well as we're going to give our predictions. So we're going to give a lot of yes or no answers of what we think is going to happen in fourth edition, and we will either be correct and we'll be, enlightened, or we're going to be incorrect and we will be fools like always. So it is what it is, but we're excited to talk about it. We've been hearing a lot about it. This is a combination of the Adepticon reveals as well as the Warhammer community articles and videos that they posted today, which is March 25th.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to reveal more stuff going forward. We'll probably see either a model or a rules reveal every week until launch.
Which will be like mid-summer sometime.
Summer. We'll talk about that later when the actual release date is. But they don't have a whole lot of time to get there. So I think we're gonna start seeing stuff pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they're gonna start sprinting out that content.
Yeah, exactly. So I think every other day we'll probably get something like one little tidbit. You know what I mean, for Age of Sigmar.
Like a rat toe.
Like a rat toe. Like a rat toe, a rat tail, maybe maybe some rules about the rats and what the rats do and all that kind of stuff. The rollout will probably be pretty similar to like 40k 10th, where they will show one rule of one unit and everyone will be like, is that so from that we can know, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So I'm honestly super excited.
Yeah, it's nice because we have like the rule of a million, where it's like if a million people look at the same thing, you know what I mean? Like the internet, like the
hive
mind. Yeah, the aggregate mind of the internet can like distill out what's gonna happen, or like roughly what's gonna happen. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see.
I'm super excited to see too. It's what like reveals leading up to are some of the most hyped times to be in the hobby. So
yeah,
I'm really excited. But let me bounce the first slide on the screen and we can start talking about it. James, take her away.
Yeah. So things that we know so far, like these are things that were confirmed in the Adepticon reveals or in the article that we were, talking about earlier today. First thing is indexing was I think the biggest question kind of going in is like, hey, are we going to get rid of our books? Are we keeping our books? Like what's the format for like actual faction specific rules going forward? And they confirmed that we're going to be getting like an updated rules, like index for each individual faction, in addition to, I'm pretty sure the launch factions like Skaven and Stormcast are going to get their full book on launch.
I don't know about full. That's a good question.
They might. I think that or they'll be soon after. Like it's probably because they're the launch box. You can expect because I think Space Marines were the first one in 40k
in Tyranids, but they did have an index before that. They actually it took a while for them to get their book, and I imagine it's going to be something like that. There's going to be like a perfect index where everyone has an index, and then Stormcast and Skaven will get theirs.
And then they're going to be able to hit people first with all the factions and all the specifics. So get ready, Stormcast and Skaven players. Your time is coming.
Oh yeah, we got to. As a Stormcast player, we live for those first editions where we have fun stuff and everybody else doesn't, and like we're like, oh, this is amazing, and then 3 months later, everybody else starts to get new stuff, and we're like, oh wait, they wrote ours first, so it's garbage.
Yeah. We're old hotness.
But yeah, I think they revealed index and like updated rules for Regiments Renown and Army of
Yeah.
Renown,
Those will all be
which
coming as well. Yeah.
yeah, which is something that I didn't expect them to just talk about. I
Yeah.
was surprised that they
I
just
was honestly, because I think it would be like, you'd think that that kind of stuff would be like an afterthought, because it's kind of more of like an additional flavor piece to a lot of the
yeah
armies that like they'd want to like kind of nail down, the rules or like the faction rules first, and then come back to like, oh, like the spicy dragon army or the
yeah
spicy troll army, like. But they were like, yeah, you're going to get new rules for Edges Around and stuff like that. So it's nice to know that that stuff's not going away. So if you kind of bought into one of those, that you're not just like,
fully
well, that was
gone.
fun for 3 months.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think that
fun.
is like the olive branch that they're handing to people, being like, yeah, all your books are gone. Like, thanks for
Yeah.
the $45, nerd.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
literally.
think they're like, hey, if you bought into it, like, yeah, technically that book is gone, but like that army still remains. So
Yeah, like the Dawnbringers is kind of their like grains of sand to get us to fourth. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So it's like, if you bought, like, I own Trug. I don't own the Dawnbringers book because I
No,
refuse to. But it is nice that they're saying, like, they're confirming that like this, like what kind of looked like a money grab is more like a, like, not a money grab, but it's more like another thing to buy before they can sell you the new
yeah,
launch box. You know,
yeah,
um, is gonna get recognition in the following, like in the game to come. So
true.
the next thing, we're gonna get some universal special rules, like, champions, banners, musicians, lance, things like that, which was a
hmm
big thing we did in 40k. And it was nice because it's like a lot of a lot of the data cards slash, like, data sheets have the like, oh, like when you charge you get +1 damage and +1 rend, you know what I mean?
hmm
But like, instead of saying, oh, you have lance,
Yeah,
like one word,
yep,
instead of giving me a paragraph that tells me what it does.
yeah,
You
and
know?
like a lot of them are specific. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think the majority of them work like that, where they get minus like +1 rend and +1 damage.
Mm-hmm.
But I've definitely faced a couple that aren't like that, where they don't get the +1 damage, they just get the rend.
Yeah, they just get the rend, or they get like bonuses to hit
Yeah,
or something like that. Like, or they do
and
mortals on the charge. Like that
mhm.
might be another rule though.
And
Um,
speaking of the like, I was going through Soul Blight, and I was looking at like the skeletons, which should have like a very very simple war scroll, because like they're the most basic unit in the whole army, and it was kind of chonked full of stuff
yeah.
because they have to like lead, like their banner works very differently. They get +1 to their like ward saves if they have a
Wow.
banner in the unit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so it's
good.
like that. There's like a bunch of different, like, some banners are bravery, some banners are, you know what I mean, like resurrection. It's felt weird when like 90% of the factions worked in a specific way, and then like for whatever reason 10% would be like, oh yeah, our banner means something entirely different.
Our banner gives us a cheeseburger.
Yeah, our banner is way better. It's
Yeah.
got a little scowl on it and
It's
brings us cheeseburgers.
Yeah. But that's gonna be good for the game, because it's also a nice, like, it makes the like game knowledge aspect of it less
Yeah.
barrier to entry too, because then it's like, you're like, oh, like, hey, like, you walk, like me and you walk up to the table and you're playing an army I've never played before. I'm like, hey, just a heads up, these guys have lance, those guys have like defensible or whatever, you know what I mean? And
hmm
then you're like, oh, okay, I understand what those keywords mean,
Yeah.
and it makes the rule, like the back and forth of kind of, turn to turn easier.
hmm
And understanding threat ranges and things like that. But speaking of threat ranges, we get 3-inch range on weapons for claiming objectives, how characters interact with other units, and how benefits can be applied.
hmm
That last one, I'm kind of confused about, because like characters
Yeah.
have like the 18-inch, or generals have the 18-inch command
Right now.
level right now.
hmm
Um, the and normal characters have a 12-inch. So I'm like, I don't know if the 3 inches, like, I don't know if that's like not to give like a potential, like, oh, maybe look ahead, but like, do you think they're gonna do they have to be within like within the unit, like maybe it's a coherency reference, or do you think it's like you can only receive a command 3 inches away? Because I feel like if
That's
that's true, then like your your foot heroes are like kind of dog shit.
yeah. They're yeah. I think it's gonna be. I think they're gonna have specific buffs. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
they're gonna put on the thing. I don't know whether that's like gonna be a command ability or not, but I do think that is going to be um how they get around Lookout Sir. Or I think it's gonna be combining a hero into a unit with all but name. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I think
Okay.
they're just gonna be like, hey, this is how this works. So you, like, if you keep this hero next to this unit, your hero cannot be shot You know what I mean?
So you mean it's like so it is more like a coherency thing where it's
I
like,
think,
okay, this like they move as a unit, you know what I mean? Like a
yeah,
single
I
unit
think it's going to be
essentially.
like you move them as a unit. I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to be as locked in. Like you have to attach it like at the start of the game. But I
Yeah.
think there might be a thing where it's like there's lots of reasons why you should not keep this one little grot like in the middle of nowhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you want to keep him like within 3 inches so that he can't be targeted and he
It's
can
true.
like throw buffs onto other units.
Yeah, I agree.
That's speculation, of course,
This
but
is all speculation. You know what I mean?
yeah.
This is like, I think these are the words that they're essentially using in the in the interviews. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like people were like, "Oh, this is just like what's it called? This is just marketing speak. Oh, it's just marketing speak." I'm like, "No, they very specifically said these words intentionally." You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like there's a script. It's not
yeah.
like they're just like ad
It's not a
libbing.
live interview, you
No.
know. Yeah,
It's
it's a
not a live
recorded
interview.
interview.
It's a
Yeah,
pre-recorded scripted thing. So there's a very specific thing that they're saying. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But like I love the 3-inch range for weapons. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how they balance that because like 3-inch range for like Stormcast is going to be very different than like 3-inch range for like 25 millimeter rat people,
yeah. Because now everyone
Um,
can get in, you know,
yeah.
like or blade geists. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like they just got their 2-inch buff, and now they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have 3 inches. So
Yeah.
you can take a
Yeah.
squad of 30, and they're gonna be hitting like a truck.
Yeah. Hopefully they balance that out with rules in some way, shape, or form. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then the claiming objectives is super interesting because we've lived with extremely large objectives
Oh
for a
yeah.
very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been 6 inches and it's always been to a like imaginary 1 millimeter dot that's in the middle
Yeah.
of this. So I'm assuming, and this is another like bold statement, right? I assume we're going to go to 40K where like they have a 40 millimeter objective marker. It's going to be in the middle of the thing and you're going to measure 3 inches to that.
Yeah. I just think, and I think like more or less we're gonna have like synonymous objective markers to 40K just to
Yeah.
simplify the game. You
Yeah.
know.
We'll talk about it later, but I think their overall goal is they understand that 40K is 3 times as large as Age of Sigmar. There are like 3 times as many players as there are 40K than Sigmar, and their goal is to get as many people who play 40K to come and buy an Age of Sigmar army.
Yeah, as possible.
Yeah, because I think they're like how the amount of new people that they can get into Age of Sigmar that don't already play 40K is very, very small. So they got to pull those 40K players over in some way, shape, or form. And like they have a good case going for them for the like models and stuff. But if you make the rules simpler
Almost
and more
synonymous. Yeah.
in line with 40K, where it's easy to hop back and forth, you know what I mean?
It's that much easier to make the jump.
It's that much
and
easier
if
for
we're
them.
going to be honest, the people that are playing 40K are already spending. They like spending that dollar
They
on
like
that
spending-
plastic. You know.
Yeah.
So get some cool fantasy models doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but I definitely think I kind of like smaller objectives just because I feel like it's easier to put it on the board.
I agree.
What I mean? Yeah.
And like they're cheaper. I don't know if you ever bought like the objective markers for Age of Sigmar, but they're expensive. They're like in between like $50 and $60 because like they're massive. They're a lot of material.
They're big. They're big.
Where'd you get those?
Amazon.
Nice. But yeah. Well, the nice thing about that is you can just clip them.
Yeah,
because they're going down in size.
That's also true. I got to get one of them compasses from grade
the
school.
objective clipping party.
Mm-hmm. But no, I think it's gonna be a good thing for the game. So next thing we want to talk about battle trade sub factions, battle formations. Basically all the like little add-ins when you're doing your shopping cart for list building. I think that they're gonna do a lot of the baking like attributes and buffs and stuff like that into war scrolls. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna lose a lot of the like, oh, because like this guy has like a specific artifact which buffs like the innate ability of you to have a 5-up ward. Now you have a 4-up ward in this very specific situation. It's gonna be like, okay, if this guy's in your unit or if this guy's like within a certain radius, he gives out an aura of this, and it's like instead of it being an artifact or because it just it brings the levels like together, which is kind of what at least what I'm like. Again, I'm not a 40K player, but I did some research before this. And it seems like they did that across 40K when they went to 10th, is they tried to bring everything to the same level and then make it as simple as possible or as like homogenous as possible.
The thing that interests me was sub-factions, because that is something 40K lost.
Yeah. I don't
Like,
necessarily like that, if I'm being honest. I think sub factions are fun because they give, like, if you want to play into a certain army or archetype, it gives you benefits for doing so, you know?
yeah,
Where, like, you know, if you want to take all, like, if I wanted to take all rock guts, you know what I mean? Or I want to take a lot of trolls, like, I get benefits for doing that if I play the troll subfaction. And it's like,
hmm
it incentivizes me because, like, I don't hold points as well. And, like, I don't move super fast. So it's like, I'm not taking those units that, like, necessarily are better for, like, different parts of the game, but I'm playing the models that I want to play and it allows me to do so, you
yeah.
know?
So you're happy that sub-factions are staying?
I am happy that sub factions are staying. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to say if they were going away. Like if they were.
No,
Yeah.
no, they confirmed that they're staying, which is
That's good.
it. I think it's good because I think 40K, especially with Space Marines, it's like very different. You know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
it's like my color blue Space Marines do this, my green Space Marines do this, my red Space Marines do this. I think they did a pretty good job of like figuring that out with attachments, but I feel like Age of Sigmar, it's like I have I have 6 Stegodons. You know what I mean? Like I play Thunder Lizard, or like I play Avangori, so I have you know 3, or I have 4 like zombie dragons and 2 zombie like
Yeah.
vampire zombie lords
It's not
on
like a
dragons.
different color zombie dragon. You
It's
know.
not a different, yeah. It's not like a different color. Like I have a completely different army than
Mhm.
other people that also play this exact same faction. So same thing with you and Rock Guts. Like you don't play stab as shoot as, you
No,
know what
I
I
don't play
mean?
any goblins really. You
Yeah,
know, like little goblins,
yeah,
and it's like because I don't like them. I like the
mm-hmm,
big boys. You
yeah.
know.
I want to move 40 models around the
I don't
board.
want to do that. Yeah, I don't. You can't make me do that. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it.
The other one, battle formations, is something I think that's relatively new. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's what they call battalions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's interesting that like that was one thing that I was assuming things would go away,
Yeah.
was specific faction battle formations. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that they confirmed that that's staying.
Yeah, I definitely think it adds like an element of strategy to the game even before you kind of hit the board. But I think it needs to be fixed because one drop is so strong, you
Yeah,
know. And we talked about this before. Like I think that like you know it's hard to pass up a one drop
yeah,
when you know that's like oh you're like oh I just get to dictate the pace of game, you
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Well, if a one drop equals I choose who goes first, that's the thing. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like choosing to go first is way better than any other benefit you can throw on it. At
yeah.
least as of right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do something with. I hope they do something to make the battle formations like not necessarily more swingy, but like more even keeled. You know, like
Yeah,
everything kind of equals the same. You know, or like there's benefits for both. It goes back and forth. You know.
yeah. Then something that's interesting is they called out heroic traits, which is a different verbiage. It's
That
not the
yeah.
same. So we might see a difference in like command abilities versus heroic traits.
Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of. They're definitely. I mean, battle formations too. Like, I think there's going to be an interesting shift, and I hope that it makes things
Better.
easier. Yeah,
Yeah.
better. Yeah,
Easier, better,
yeah,
more fun.
yeah. The
I don't
I
I don't
was
think
so
we
worried that we were gonna lose like prayers. I was actually like
really.
legitimately, yeah, because they did away with the psychic phase in 40K,
Oh yeah.
and I thought that they would be like, oh, let's just push everything into spells. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's nice to have two systems because there's players like there's armies like Corn where it's like, hey, I don't have a lot of versatility when it comes to like my long range damage threat that isn't like me running over there and hitting you with an axe. So it's like
Yeah.
nice to have like, oh, there's not a lot of people that have priests. So it's like I more or less get what I need off when I need to, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like priest abilities are they're very similar, but they're also very different. So I am glad that they're staying.
Yeah.
The the thing that something that I mentioned about spells was you will sometimes have the potential to cast a spell in your opponent's turn.
Get fight lasted.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what kind of spell, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
that's something that's like and we'll talk about it more later, but they really want to lean into that interactive element that Age of Sigmar has where like
You can
I'm
give certain commands and like in
mhm.
reaction to other things.
Yeah, there's a lot of reacting, and I almost think that the Cities of Sigmar book might have been kind of a
precursor.
where it's like they have a lot of reaction stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we might see something similar to that.
The order system.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Yeah, I have very strong opinions on that, but we can get into that
Really?
later. Yeah, I have very strong opinions.
Yeah.
We've like kind of touched on it before, but we'll get into it later.
Mm-hmm.
It's for another slide. So moving on from that, we have War Scrolls on one single-sided cards, which is really nice because you don't just you don't have a book that you have to read. Like, oh, I want to play Kragnos. Oh, that's cool. Well, here's like an essay on
Here's my dissertation on how Kragnos is dangerous, and I hope you understand it because I'm going to hit you with him in like 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So
100%. I didn't understand that. Like, and I lost the game because of it. And it's like 100%. It's not on my opponent. He was like, "Hey, do you understand Kragnos?" And I was like, "Roughly."
Yeah.
And I didn't. And
what am I going to do? Like, we have 3 hours to, you know what I mean? And the clock's already stopped. What am I going to do? Like, pause to like sit down and with a cup of tea and a reading light and go through Kragnos' War Scroll?
one-on-one,
Yeah.
Or
So that is nice. I like that. That's a big change where they said it and I was like, thank God.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be attributed a lot to like the universal rules are going to cut down a lot on the bloat, that is on current World Scrolls. I mean, Scragrots is literally a book too. Like it's like it's the like,
the foldy.
The foldy boy.
Stormdrakes are also that. So
color coding War Scrolls and abilities for phase. I like that a lot because I get confused easily and I'm dumb. So
yeah, I know. And like people are like, "Oh, I don't understand." Like they already kind of do that, and I'm like, it's much different to like look across to your
dude. It's so fast. It's so much faster.
It's so much faster to look across your table and be like, "All right, we're in the green zone." Yeah. All right, I have 2 green things. Do any of these help me? No, they don't because I'm bad.
How in the green phase?
We're in the green phase. Something someone said was, "I hope that they add numbers to this because some people are colorblind."
Oh,
or
that's
like
true.
They pick specific colorblind friendly colors. So
yeah, that's true. That's because people can also be like specific colorblind. Like
that's true.
So
yeah, it'd be hard to do. They have it in video games though. They
I'm sure that there's like an established system that people like are like, okay, when I need to be sensitive to colorblind people, this is what we do. You know.
Yep.
The updates to terrain. Love it because terrain sucks.
Yeah, I don't. If you make me roll for things on a terrain table, I'm gonna kill somebody.
It's so dumb.
I hate it.
Every 5 of the 6 rules suck, and nobody likes them. You know.
Also, like and this is kind of endemic of like the game in general, but it's already complicated, and like we already are on a time scale. So like me remembering that this one thing might have the potential to hurt me, or like this has the potential to help me, like it's so minimal.
None of them help you. Like legit, like 2 of them help you.
Arcane.
Yeah, Arcane, the only one.
And the bravery one.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like there's not enough terrain in AOS to really for it to make a difference. Frequently, I'm just not gonna touch that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's ended up what ended up happening in this the game versus the Spooky Ghost. I did lose an extra bird because one of the terrain I was next to was spooky.
It's scary. Scared that bird away.
They had like spook rules. So impactful, maybe
impactful gaming. No, it's terrible.
Yeah, no. I don't know if we're gonna go to like battle plans like 40K has, but I don't think that's the case. But I do think that they'll like kind of hone in on what terrain means more. So
and I just hope that it's easier. Like you pick like 3 or 4 archetypes that it's essentially like it's one of these 3, 4 things. Like it's not like because right now we're dealing with like 2 different terrain systems where it's like there's like the things you roll for, and then it's like, oh, is this impassable garrison? Like like there's 2 different systems for each terrain piece, which is stupid.
Yeah,
it should be one. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. We'll definitely see like how the terrains change. I've never seen anybody use a garrison.
Yeah, frequently I disregard terrain completely. If my opponent is like, I don't want to play terrain, I'm like, bet I fucking hate terrain. You know, I'm never gonna impose that on somebody, but like if they offer it to me, I'm like, heck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like
it can be impactful. Like +1, like, but the biggest thing is like +1 to save, or like you can't shoot me. You know what I mean? Like that's
true.
So I'm curious to see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But going down the list, just because we have so many things, like I'm kind of like jumping around. So List building, I think, is going to get a lot more open, like it did in 40k, where it's
Yep.
like it's going to be a lot easier to fill your shopping cart, with like
Yep.
whatever you want to. The more reactive command system, hot takes. I hate it. I think it's going to make the game worse because it's like you're adding steps. Like every time you add a reactive command point, you're adding steps to the game. It's already a long game,
Yeah.
And I like it. I like the way it is now, where it's like there's like 4. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
in the charge
Agreed.
phase there's 2, in the fight phase and shooting phase there's 2, and then in like on the back of I don't think I have my book here, but like essentially like on the back where it's like, okay, there's 9 like commands or 7 commands. That's it. You
Yep.
know what I mean? No
Yep.
more, no less, and it's simple. Like that's good. And I honestly, it's one of the reasons I came from 40k to Age of Sigmar is because I'm like, I hate stratagems. I hate them because they make the game slower, more complicated, and like you have to like, even if you know your rules back and forth, like if you don't know their rules back and forth, you're like, oh, do any of my stratagems help me with this specific ability that they have? You know? And it's like,
I don't mind more reactive. I think like people hate on this like you go I go system a lot because like it does feel bad when, especially if there's a double, they get to move all their stuff, hit you, and you just kind of sit there and take it. You know what I mean? And the best thing you can do is like +1 to save or like redeploy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I do understand that. I understand
it.
why they'd want that, but I also like I'm scared of. I'm also scared of more reactive if they, because there's so much more to know, and there's so much. I don't know how you get more reactive without getting more gotcha.
Oh, 100%. And it's
Yeah.
like, and it's also like, there's like, you open up you just open up the gambit of people, like the turns are going to take forever. You know what I mean? Because you have to do more things in the phase. It's not +1, And I think, honestly, Sigmar does a good job of like, even when you get charged, if you get double turned, like they can't hit your entire army first. You know what I mean? They can use one, unless there's special rules, they can use one unit and then you use one unit, and then they use one unit and then you use one unit. So you still feel like you have play in a turn you're getting doubled,
Yeah.
So I think there's other ways to like skin the cat in that way.
I do think like the more that I think about it, looking at the more like when they say more reactive command system, I think it's going to be a lot more of, how there's a lot of things that say you can do this in your hero phase.
Yeah.
I think there's going to just be like you do it in the hero phase and then you pick which one you want to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I just hope that there's not that many. If there's like, again, if they boil it down to 8, like there's 2 a phase, I'm fine. Like, I don't care. Like, that's fine.
They're going to lose me the minute that if it's faction specific reactive command points.
Dude, if we get stratagems, I'm gonna throw up. Like I'm literally gonna freak out.
I know. I hope it's just like it's like the skink one where it's like you get to roll 2d6 and take the highest when you redeploy. You know what I mean?
But
it's like
that doesn't need to be a stratagem. That can just be on the fucking war scroll.
I agree, and it is on the war scroll right now. I'm just I'm just saying like I want it to be that type of thing where it modifies the thing that I already know in my head, not this unit has this very specific thing that nobody else has.
Yeah.
That is reactive, and now basically if you don't know about it, you're going to get gotcha'd.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm worried.
That's the thing that has me the most worried is how do you make it more reactive without adding more gotchas into the game?
Agreed. And gotchas are terrible.
Gotchas feel bad.
Yeah. We had that whole conversation with people at Cherokee Open, and they were like, "Oh, well, the game's about gotchas," and I'm like, "No, it's not. The game is not.
Doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be about skill.
Yeah, the game should be about skill, not tricking your opponent. You know what I mean? Like you should outplay me, not withhold information and then hit me.
Yeah, you should win because of your choices, not because
of a lack of information.
100%.
100%. Like whatever. Like fight me in the sand.
I'll fight you in the parking lot, you filthy bum.
Yeah. All right. The
underdog mechanic. That's the last one on the line.
I do kind of like that, and I think that that's kind of going to go hand in hand with the double turns kind of getting changed, like the next bullet point too. Like I feel like there's going to be. I think double turns are going to cost more. Like it's not just like you're giving up command point. You're going to like. Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like you get. I don't know. Like maybe it's like harder to do things, or whoever's going. Like at the bottom of the turn gets a lot of bonuses that you're not going to get because you're doubling.
Yeah. I've
Um,
seen a lot of different things where people are speculating where it's like, oh, like maybe we basically wager our command points where it's like we roll
yeah,
our d6 for priority and then we like, have a card in our hand and basically say like I put 3 of my command points on this, to add to the roll. What are you going to put? You know what I mean? That kind of
yeah.
thing. And then like you can't use those command points that you wager, you can't use in the next turn.
Oh,
You know what
that's
I mean?
cool. So it's like it is like a bartering system, kind of.
Yeah, it's like I'm basically going to spend all of my sorry, I'm going to spend all of my resources in order to go first, but I'm not going to have those resources while I'm going first.
Yeah,
You know what I
I do
mean?
like that. I do
So
kind of
like,
like
there's
that.
that. I've also heard people saying like, "Oh, this is the boring one is like you score less if you go second. Like
Yeah,
your battle tactics or whatever those equivalent or your primary, you're going to reduce the amount of points that you can take in that
got
turn.
it. Okay, so you can't
I
get
don't
as
know.
much of a swing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but you can
we
still
we know
hit pretty
nothing about
hard
that.
though. Yeah, you can still hit
Yeah,
pretty
you can hit me pretty hard. Yeah.
But the yeah, and to talk about the underdog mechanic too, I think that's like I think maybe that second like what you just said is going to be the swing there, where it's like, oh, you actually get a boon for like you're behind or you're getting doubled, like you get a boon for scoring at the end of your turn.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it easier to come back.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the Honest Wargamer today. He was talking about elastic game systems, where it's
Mm-hmm.
basically like the more you get ahead, the more opportunity the opponent has to catch up.
Yeah.
Which apparently Shatterpoint and some other, I think, what the Marvel Crisis Protocol has.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too much about those games, but I've heard that like they
I
have
heard that's
something.
really fun.
I
Like
heard it's
it's
super fun, and I heard
yeah.
like people like it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I just hope it's not the Gambit system that 40K has
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah, I don't
it,
like the Gambit system. I've seen that used a couple times where it's like, oh, I need to get this thing done,
yeah,
and then I
you
just
base
get like I get 40 points. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, it's like it's a Hail Mary that you say, hey, I'm going to try to do a Hail Mary instead of scoring primary for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I don't
Which
know.
I don't think anybody's ever used it well. I'm sure everyone has a case of one time it happened and it was amazing, or you were the guy on the other end and it felt terrible.
Yeah,
So,
because you like outplayed him 100%, and then he just filled this gambit that won him the game.
yeah. So that's one of those things where I don't want that exact system, but I do like the idea of some kind of underdog mechanic.
Yeah,
So we'll
100%.
see.
Well, because it keeps it close. Close games are good. You know, close
Yep,
games are good games.
100%.
Um, okay, next Spearhead. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. I like Spearhead.
I
I
like
like quick
Spearhead too.
games. Quick games are good.
Quick
Like
games are good.
like make the rules simple, make the balance. It's really easy to balance the armies when you don't get to pick anything. You know,
Yeah,
you get
that's
to
that was my biggest complaint about Combat Patrol was like it could have been really good for 40K, like the Combat Patrol, and it
yeah,
just wasn't because like they didn't want to make it a separate game. They wanted it to be like small, simpler 40K. But the problem is those boxes are not designed to fight each other.
no,
So something that popped out to me for this was when they said like very balanced, which they said it so many times. I'm like, it better be.
it better
The
be
amount of
because
times
you told me this. Like
but like the Stormcast Eternals one, the one with the Andrasta, they talked about how like some of the heavy hitting units don't show up until halfway through the game. So I'm like,
yeah,
that's an interesting way to balance the game. It's like you
agreed.
basically like it's very asymmetrical. You know what I mean? So that could definitely be like it's not just about like scoring primary or whatever. Maybe each army has like different goals that they want to do. Maybe like every army has different rules for how they show up.
Yeah,
There's
or
a
like
lot of
buff
stuff you
conditions where
can
it's
do
like like
besides just
it's
like changing the war scroll.
yeah, or it's like, oh, if you get a Carnosaur, like maybe you only get like you get half of the number of attacks on certain weapons until
Yeah.
a certain point. You know, like
Yeah. The because I know that's basically how they tried to balance with Combat Patrol was you for 40K, they just changed the war scrolls. So like the war scrolls were slightly different so that some units didn't have access to everything that they had.
they weren't just busted.
They weren't yeah. That was the goal, but didn't really end up that way. So I think they're taking notes from that and realizing if you want to balance a small game like this, you have to impact the way the game plays more than just impacting how one specific unit much damage they can do,
Yeah. And I think that like it's a good like I think Magic does this with those like you gave me a couple decks like in Magic that are like internally balanced decks that are like designed to
Mm-hmm.
play against each other as like an intro.
Yeah.
And like I think that this is that. You know what I mean? This is essentially like somebody's like, I want to get into the hobby, I'm just gonna buy a box, you know what I mean? Like and
Yeah.
I wanna play, you know, I
Again,
wanna
that's
make
perfect for 40K. You download the app, you buy one box. They already got the paints. They already know how to build models. They build it
Mhm.
up. They play it.
Yeah.
That's what it's here for. It's here to get money out of 40K players,
Yeah.
which is
And
fine because the
it's
more people that play this hobby, the better it is.
Agreed. And it's like it also gives you the itch of like, okay, this is what the game's gonna feel like when you like play the real 2,000 point game. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. So modular and interactive,
Yeah.
casting spells like this. So this is kind of I think what we were talking about before
Yep.
with the reactive
Yeah.
nature of the game.
The interactive, they specifically mentioned casting spells and charging in the enemy
Casting
phase.
spells.
Casting spells.
DJ
But yeah, charging in, there it is. There's that Cities of Sigmar charging in the enemy phase thing that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see how the modular works, because in my mind, Leviathan is exactly modular.
Yeah.
Like it's like that. However you want to play the game, that's exactly how you play the game. And there's like you add or retract different cards depending on what type of game you want to play. So
Yeah.
I think we're getting cards.
I would hope
maybe
we get cards. Honestly, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like the
feel
card,
more
and it's
fun.
like it's better for them because it's easier for them to print.
Yeah.
They don't have to print books.
No.
But
And I want
we'll talk. Next point, we'll talk about it.
Battle plans and tactics instead of it, and it is confirmed we're getting a GHB. Like that has been confirmed.
They said GHB by name. They also said battle plans and tactics, which like they said tactics, and I was like, no, don't do it, don't fucking do it, don't do it, because I was like, no,
don't do this to me.
But I hope that they revise the tactic system.
Well, I hope that they just call like what they call secondaries in 40k is tactics in Age of Sigmar. It's essentially the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I hope we do Tempest of War, where it's like a drawn system because it's fun, it's random, it's like
it definitely feels more Age of Sigmar than 40k. So I'm surprised 40k got it first.
Yeah, well, it's they had the new edition first.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Like Age of Sigmar wasn't last summer, right? Or when was Age of Sigmar 3?
2021.
2021, so 3 years ago. Yeah, it's a 3-year system, right?
Yeah, but I'm interested they because I thought like I would have put money on it before this that it was 100% going to be cards until they said GHB.
I do think that I think the GHB is more or less the season, the flavor of the season. Like I don't think.
But book is in the title.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to get a book, but I think that like I think the secondary system is going to be removed from the GHB. You know, like the secondaries aren't going to be flavor of the month. They're going to be baked into the core rules. You know what I mean? And then like the special rules that like make each season feel unique are going to be, you know, maybe spell lores, maybe like the mission packs, maybe whatever, but it's not tied into the battle tactics. You know, the battle tactics should be universal, you know?
Hopefully.
We'll
see.
Yeah. At least that's how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah. I'd like it that way. Like it that way because like I do like because battle tactics are such a big portion of the game, you do change your army every season to see if you can score those battle tactics.
100%. And you see like new models come to the table.
Yeah.
I do like that, but I do think that like battle tactics are like some of them are just not used. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like endless exploration or expropriation, whatever it is. I've never ever seen that in a game used.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. The biggest thing is book battle tactics. As soon as you bring in book battle tactics and want like, you know, I know Gits have like a lot of ones where it's like do the thing you're already doing, or like the storm
back.
Yeah.
Literally that. Like, there's 3 battle tactics. It's like take point back.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. I will do the thing I was already doing.
I need to do that for primary, so I guess I'll do it for secondary too, you know?
Yeah, so hopefully they get away from that whole system. We'll probably have an episode at some point in time in the future just dissecting battle tactics and hopefully talking about whatever they do new. So
yeah, I'm excited. I like battle tactics. Gits have very forgiving battle tactics. But I know that it's like literal pain for other armies. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have. It's like, oh, if you're, we made this joke 100 times, but it's like, oh, if you're wearing a hat on Tuesday and you're feeling kind of hot and you order a grande latte from Starbucks, you get 2 points up this turn.
Yeah. I hope battle tactics aren't as big as they kind of are, because it definitely takes away from playing the war game. It goes into combat DDR basically, which is what I like call it all the time, where it's like we're not really fighting each other anymore.
We're dancing around the battlefield.
We're dancing around the battlefield, and you're just like every now and then you'll like lean over and try to knock me over. You know what I mean? From like completing my like combo move that I'm doing. Other than that, it doesn't feel like a war game.
No. It doesn't feel like I have to engage. Like I've literally played games where we've danced around each other and we've
Mm-hmm.
had very, very minimal engagement, and it's like very high scoring games.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, next slide.
Yep.
So what do
This
we
is where
think
we
is?
put it on the line.
Yeah, what do we think is staying? So this is like our takes. We've kind of like alluded to it, but battle line changes. Do we think they're coming?
They're definitely coming.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I have no idea. That's something that I'm like, they could go a bunch of different ways. Because they did for 40K. They just
Yeah.
basically, if you were battle line, you got OC bumps.
Yeah, and I think we're getting. I would think that we're getting OC. I think that that's coming because I think it's the only way to incentivize, or like you give certain rules that it's easier for units to hold objectives. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like the only reason anyone brings stabas, like the little goblins, is because they can hold, objectives from 9 inches away. You
Yeah.
know, it's
And
the
they
only
can
reason you bring them.
potentially be 60 wounds. And like
Yeah,
a lot of, despite the save, not a lot of models can't remove 60 wounds of things in a turn.
yeah, 100%. Like
So,
it's I definitely think that we are going to get battle. I think we're going to still have battle line and battle line like requirements, quote unquote.
yeah.
But like I think that it's going to I think we're going to get the OC system or some variant of that, maybe a simpler version of that where we're not doing weird math the whole time.
What if all battle line got like the stabber rule, but they were at 6?
But there it's like it's like you mean like it goes back to normal
It
objectives.
goes back to normal basically if you're
That's
battle
so
line.
funny.
I have no idea. Like, I think they're going to get away with a lot because they mentioned a lot of list building streamlines, right? So, like, I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the things they're not going to make you take 3 battle line.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they give you incentives to Dictum as an owner of 60 Vindictors. I
think
hope
that
they do make
will.
you.
Well, they also want you to buy them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
it's true. They come in every
they're
box. You know what I
expensive
mean?
to collect. Like
Yeah,
legitimately.
give us a reason to put them on the board
Yeah.
besides just attacks, literally
Yeah.
attacks.
Yes. Endless spells. Do we think they're going away? I definitely don't think so. I think that I think it's a flavor thing of Sigmar. You know what I mean? Like again, I think that you think that they're complicated, which they
I
are.
don't. Okay, so I don't think they're that complicated. What I'm thinking is they're extremely difficult to buy.
Yeah.
If I could, okay, so if they stay, I would say that they're gonna get trimmed down and they're gonna release a new box which has all of them in it, and it's like $80.
Don't they do that already? Then can't you buy like a box and it's like a bunch of them? Like you buy like
I think
there's like
so.
2 boxes, I think.
I don't know. I know
Yeah.
I had a trouble trying to find the Stormcast one because
Yeah.
like each faction also has them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I have a Gits box of spells, and it comes
Yeah.
with like 3 spells or 4
Yeah.
spells. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that endless spells are staying because there is plastic that is them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only reason I'm like pretty confident that they're saying. I definitely think that they may see. I mean, I don't think that they're overpowered. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I don't think they're oppressive. I think they have like they're like appropriate because they cost points and they have like they're conditional. You know what I mean? Because you still have to cast them.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just wasted points. Like if Godsprak is across the board, like I'm not getting my Scuttle tied off. It's just not happening. You know?
Before we get too far away from it, yes or no, will the word battle line be a thing in Age of Sigmar 4?
Oh, yeah, 100% it will.
Yeah.
I would say
James
yes.
says yes. I too will say yes. I think it might exist. I don't know what it will be, but it might. I think it's still going to exist.
Agreed. And
So in the spells,
I say yes.
I also say yes. I think there's too many of them out there, and they're too popular to get rid of.
Yeah. All right. Battalion organization.
Will everything have to fit inside a battalion box?
Yeah.
In order to play the game?
I think no.
Really? Even with the what was it on the last slide? The thing that they confirmed? They confirmed
I think you're gonna get like
battle formations.
I think you'll get benefits for them, but I don't think that they're gonna be required anymore.
Interesting.
I think that it's like, hey, if you want to put your stuff in the lunchbox
Mm-hmm.
this way, you get a benefit for it. But you can bring whatever you want, you know? So it's like if you don't want, you know, your special cherry that gives you like shoot in the hero phase, you don't have to bring, you know, you don't have to fit into the thing, you know? You can bring, you know, you can't because its battle line is like 6 repetitive and then it's 3 repetitive outside of that. I think they are still going to have that, but I don't think it's going to be required in the way that it is currently available.
Okay.
So I would say no.
So no battalion organization.
Not in the way that it currently exists. So I'll say no.
Okay.
What do you think?
I definitely think that yes. I think that the battle formations is probably going to be what it is, and what that looks like is going to be different. I think it might be because they said it was faction specific. I think it's going to be basically if you make your if you fit into this lunchbox and you make your army look like an army, you get these benefits.
Yes.
I think you'll have benefits for looking like an army.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't think it will. I don't think it'll be required. Like it's like
No.
you can make and you don't get those benefits. That's the only reason I'm saying no. Is like I think that like you'll be able to do that, but you don't have to do that because you do that now with Stormcast. Like you put things in specific things to get like 2 command abilities or 2 holy commands. Like you have to do that buying and purchasing game. Whereas like I feel like there's going to be like the true opposite of that is like I can just bring whatever units I want. They just won't get the benefits that like I would normally get if I made it look like an army. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if it's competitive, but
yeah,
you know.
I think there will be battalion organization.
Yes.
I think you will have to fit your army in a lunch pail in order to plop it on the table. I don't think there's going to be. That might be a hot take because that's not what 40K did. You know what I mean? 40K did the whole like you bring one hero, you bring a rule. We also don't have a rule of 3.
Yeah.
So I think 40K can get away with that because they have a rule of 3. You can only bring like 3 dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
So I think you will have to fit into a battle. I think they would rather do a battalion organization style than implement some sort of rule of 3.
One of us will be wrong. One of us will be right.
We'll find out in 2 short months. So
2 short months. All right. Grand Strats battle tactics. I think Grand Strats are staying.
Really?
I do. I don't think battle tactics are staying, but I do think like an overarching goal is staying. I don't know if they're going to be common. Like you could only do common ones. Like I don't know if they're taking away like faction specific ones, but I do think that like having like another game going on to like decide ties is something that they're going to keep.
That's fair. That definitely makes sense. I think they're gone. I think grand strats are gone. And I might just be like huffing that hopium because like your grand strat should be to win. You know what I mean? It should be to like push the enemy off the battlefield. That should be your grand strat.
Yeah.
I think battle tactics stay because they said tactics come in the book.
Yeah, I just think they're different.
Yeah, I think they're going to be more of the card kind of system. And whether it's like kill team where you have to choose 3 before the game, or you choose them by the turn, or not choose, but you draw by the turn the way that 40K does. We'll see.
So you're no yes, I'm yes.
Yes, I'm no yes. You're yes.
Okay. Allies as we know them, I think it's gonna get weird. I think allies are gonna get very strange.
I think allies are done. I don't think
there's any allies.
I don't think there's any. I think regiments of renown is the new ally.
True.
I think
I could see that. I could see them like basically hard locking it so it's less gamey.
They've been putting so many regiments of renown out recently. Like even on order, you have like Callus and Tolt, you have like Neve Black Talon, and you have like one for each faction. I think you're going to see a lot more of those where it's like, oh, these guys are specific boxes that we can sell and everyone can use them.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to get rid of the whole I can bring a Slan in my Stormcast army.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the Slan is just good at under 400 points.
Yeah, or like the not Andrasta, but like the one that drops from the sky and does a ton.
Yep.
She's in a bunch of armies.
Lord, it's not Lord Celestant Prime. That's what it is.
Celestant Prime.
Celestant Prime. Yeah.
I've seen that in a ton of lists that aren't
good.
Stormcast.
It's just good. Yeah.
So allies, do we think we allies as we know them? I'm gonna say no, but I think that they're gonna be weird. Like I think that we're gonna get like
describe weird.
Weird as in like specific factions can bring more, or like very specific people, or like you know what I mean, like because I do think that there's like Stormcast like in the lore, Stormcast and Seraphon or not Stormcast and Cities of Sigmar fight together all the time. You know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
Or like Seraphon and Cities of Sigmar. Like there's going to be like I think that they could play into that side of it, because it.
Yeah, now that you say that like I still think they're gone because I think that makes it more simple. and
agree.
easier to balance.
I don't think it's better for the game. I just think that it's like, I think because of the world that they've set up, it's like something very likely.
I think there's a very good reasoning for why they would keep them. One of them is more people like transitioning into other armies is very simple when you can already use some of the army that you already own into the next one.
Yeah, like I have 1,000 points of like Night Haunt, but I have a 2,000 points of Flesh Eater Courts, but I'm trying to build a Night Haunt army, and I can I have a couple
Fit them in.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know what you do with Stormkeep if they can't take Cities of Sigmar. And I don't think that was ever a thing. I don't think I ever saw anybody run Stormcast and then 1/4 of their units were Cities of Sigmar, but you could do that.
Steam tanks.
You had battle tactics and grand strats that were aligned with that. What Steam tanks?
You can run some steam tanks.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to have it. I tried to do it. One in every 4 models. So you had to have 3 Stormcast units per steam tank, and like that's just too expensive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You get like 3. I think you get like 3.
No, I think you get like 2. I would say you get 2 steam tanks, or you get 2 of the guns. You know what I mean? Like the big guns that just like sit in the back. And you have like the Lord that make thing hit better. And
yep, they're just like gun battery with the Lord Ordinator in the middle, making them all hit on 3s.
Yeah, and then he's just flanked to both sides by like Vanguard Raptors.
Yeah, listen, it's not impossible rules wise right now. It might be impossible in 4th. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. So Kyle says no. James says yes.
Yep.
We were like on top of you. We were like yes, no, and now it's like we have only diverged. All right, general making other units battle line. I think that's staying. I think it's like very part and parcel to exactly what you were saying before with like the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. You know what I mean? I own 4 spiders, Kyle. If I can't make them battle line, what the fuck am I doing?
What am I gonna do? Exactly. I definitely like. I think I want it to go away, but I don't think it's going to, like, for all of those reasons. And it's just easy to do. Like instead of making an entire sub faction rule where it's like, oh, this is the spider faction, or oh, this is the zombie dragon faction. You say if this general, or if this guy is your general, all of these become battle line, assuming battle line stays in the game as we know it. You know what I mean? And then maybe add on a special rule. You know what I mean? Like for each one, where it's like if this is your general, you unlock this special rule, which affects the units that they want to lead.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But
I think it is staying.
I agree. All right, we're running a little high on time. We have 2 slides left.
Yep.
So we'll speed round the last 2 slides, not like with content, but like with speed.
Roger.
All right, so moving on to borrowing from 40K. So like we have touched on a lot of this stuff now. Heroes joining units, right? I think that there's going to be a feeling of that, exactly what Kyle said before, like where it's like you have to be within 3 inches to like get certain benefits, but I don't know if they're. I think heroes in Sigmar are a little different, where it's going to be harder to incorporate because not every army has foot heroes that they like use frequently.
Yeah.
Like. I don't.
What army doesn't?
Well, not that they don't, but like I don't think that like I don't know how well like certain heroes in like the Idnith Deepkin fit into. They're not going to fit into a unit of sharks. They're not going to. They'll fit into like the Reavers, but like people don't really run Reavers. You know what I mean? Like
I feel like but I do feel like for every unit in Sigmar, there's a
associated hero,
which makes me think. I think it's going to be like they're going to join units in all but name. I don't think you specifically have to attach them at the hip together like you do in 40K, but I do think they are basically going to make you stay within 3 inches of the unit that you want to be touching.
True. And you're going to get
kind of like the Cavalier and the Cavalier Marshal, where like you get a shit ton. Again, Cities of Sigmar was probably the predecessor because like you get a shit ton of benefits, but staying those 2 together.
Yeah, like they get to fight together. They get like benefits to the charge. They get more damage, whatever. Like, and like the same thing is true with the Trog and the Trog boss. You know what I mean? Like I get benefits to if he's the one giving them commands, I get benefits. So
yeah. So we're both going to say no, but it's going to be extremely similar.
Yeah, I agree. Point buy enhancements, no core enhancements. I would love this honestly because then it's less gamey.
I agree.
So
I don't think so because of what they said with the hero. Because they're not just like bog standard enhancements like 40k has. You have heroic traits and
yeah,
the other thing. So
artifacts.
artifacts. So I think no, I don't think they're going to tie them to points, which I think is a huge miss.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say yes from the hopium, and you'll say no.
I'm gonna say no to both because I don't think they're gonna. I think there's going to be core enhancements in the core book, which again is a huge miss, especially if they
Yeah.
don't point them.
True. All right,
Yeah.
battle shock changes. I don't really know like what's the difference between the battle shock and 40k. That's the one thing I don't.
Battle shock and 40. I mean, again, grain of salt, but it's basically like if you take it in the hero phase or the command phase, and then that unit, their OC, I think goes to 0, and I think they hit one worse.
I hate that. I don't like that. That's stupid. Like that's
Why?
dumb because they're dumb rules. Like there's no reason for those rules. Like just take people away. If it's way easier for you to just remove models. You know what I mean? Like
I
it's
hate Battle
so
Shock
much
and
easier.
Sigmar.
Yeah,
I'm
but
so
it's so
glad.
much
I'm so
easier.
glad every faction I play does not care about Battle Shock because
100%. I
like
play one of the worst Battle Shock factions in the entire game, and I like it because it's like, oh, I don't have to I don't have a weird I don't want to have to think about something else when I'm like, I don't want to put a token down. It's like, okay, this is Battle Shocked. You know what I mean? I just want
yeah.
to lose a model. You know what
I
I mean?
I don't disagree with what you're saying. My biggest complaint about Battle Shock is it just feels like extra damage. It feels like extra potential damage,
It is extra potential damage.
and I don't like that.
Yeah, but that's how you nerf units. That's the crux of Rock Guts is they're super super tanky until one of them dies.
I think Battle Shock is going to get a complete overhaul. I don't think it's going to be 10th edition, but I think it's not going to be the way that it is.
Yeah, I could definitely see it changing to be a little more genuous. Like it feels a little better instead of just being like, more model fall over. But I kind of like the simplicity of it. So I'm gonna say that it doesn't change because I don't want it to. But
Yeah.
and I
That's
also
a yes
don't
for
like
me.
I don't like the 40k one. That at least from your description, I remember this now. I remember because it was one of those things I didn't remember until you talked about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. The issue with it is like it comes up so rarely that, and it's like I think you still have to roll for it, that it's not impactful for the game. So like Tyranids, their whole faction rules revolve around battle shocking things, and then it's just not an issue.
Yeah.
So like their faction rules don't matter.
They don't work
Again.
Yeah.
Again, every edition it feels like they force Battle Shock to be a thing, and they like this faction's thing is Battle Shock, like Night Lords, and then it's just never a thing. So
yeah, no one cares about it.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather have like it's extra damage versus that, but I don't like the extra damage. I want it to be something other.
Yeah. So you're hoping for a change, not necessarily the 40k change.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't. I like it as is. It's simple.
Yeah. I say yes. Battle Shock will change.
I say no.
Okay.
All right. No Force Org. Rule of 3.
Yeah. New Force Org.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think we've already talked about this at length. I definitely think we're going to get a new system of buying and purchasing units to put them in your army.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think with that, you kind of have to have some overall overarching restrictions.
Yeah.
So you're not just like Varangard.
Right. That's my favorite list.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it definitely will. I think we'll have a new Force Org, but it's not going to be completely different from what we already know. I do not think we're going to get a rule of 3. I think Age of Sigmar is very much like solidified that we're not going to get a rule of 3.
I think we might.
People have too many of them. You know what I mean?
True.
There's multiple people that like own entire armies of just one unit.
Yeah, but it's Battle Line, you can take 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, how many units of Varangard?
I mean, there's 20 in that one list. The one battle report that that we were both watching.
Yeah.
I think he had 21 or 24. And
models?
They come in 24 models, and they come in units of 6 or 3. So
okay, yeah, and you can double reinforce them if they're battle line.
Yeah. So, but I think it was 2 units of 6, 2 units of 6, which is 12, and then no, 2 of them were double reinforced. I think it was 2 units of 9, and then 2 units of 3.
Yeah. It's not on here, but will reinforcing a unit be a thing? Hot take, yes or no?
I think so.
I think so too.
Because it's still a thing in 40k.
Yeah, I think that's like I think that's very I don't think you might not be able to double reinforce.
Yeah.
unless specific things happen. But we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So new Force org. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Rule of 3. Yes. No.
Yes. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No rule of 3.
Yes. Rule of 3.
Nope.
All right. App update command bunker. Yeah, we're totally getting that.
Yep.
100%.
100%.
We're getting that.
It's too good.
It's too good. It's just an objectively better product.
Yep.
And they already own it.
Yep.
They just have to skin it with Age of Sigmar and put all the rules in there.
Yeah, that's not spicy. The next one is spicy.
Terrain maps. I like that.
No. You skipped it. Will the army builder stay free? Because the 40K one is tied to the fucking.
Definitely not. You're gonna get the index for free, but then you're gonna buy the book. 100%. You're gonna buy the book. Why the frack? Why the frick of frack would they print the book if they're
No, James. You don't understand that. I agree. That's how it is now. That's how you're gonna get it. The army builder in the app that we have currently is free. You can build any army you want for free. The 40K version, you have to be subscribed to their Warhammer Plus in order to build armies in it. If that changes,
get that money, honey.
Get that
money.
If that changes, I'm going to be so sad.
Yeah,
and probably just lose $6 a month.
Yeah, me too.
I hate that. I hate that. Like that's like it's something that'll happen. You know what I mean? Very likely will happen because it's another lever that they can pull to get money out of me, and I hate that I'll pay it.
I will because I want to build.
But it's so convenient, and like their army builder right now works.
Yeah,
so
that sucks. Yeah, I hope again. I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna like they're gonna do the thing where it's like you're not losing something, you're getting a better product, but it's gonna cost you money.
Yeah, capitalism.
Capitalism. Yeah, I think yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think will Army Builder stay free? No.
No. The answer is no.
Both no.
Yes. Both no. We are getting Command Bunker.
Yep.
Ha.
Yes.
Terrain maps, please. I'd love that. It makes it way easier. Way easier. Yeah, 100%. I don't have to think about it. I don't like to think about terrain. If you can just tell me where it goes, I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And simple rules, like, and not a ton of it, because it's like moving around terrain also is not a fun part of the game.
It's gonna be a no for me. I don't think we get terrain maps. We might get a more intricate terrain system, but I don't think that we're not gonna get like the ruin squares. You know what I mean?
Maybe it comes in the GHB. Maybe like certain missions come with terrain maps.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hate that.
They tried to do that, and people hated it because then it required tournament organizers to supply specific types of terrain.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's gonna be. I think the terrain layout is gonna be similar.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be like touchy feely. Like it's not gonna be like, oh, you need exactly this by this. It's like you need like a 2-story building or like.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But will we get terrain maps? Yes or no?
I'm gonna say probably not, even though I would love them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no too. I don't think it's Age of Sigmar's vibe.
Modular gameplay.
Yeah, equals Leviathan Mythen pack.
Mythen.
Are we getting a mission pack card book like Kill Team and 40K have?
No. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no as well. I think they will give you cards instead of the little cardboard cutouts for your secondaries.
Yes. Speaking of which, this next bullet point.
Yeah.
Damn.
The man who wrote this is in my own head.
So no for modular gameplay, yes for secondary card system. I agree with that as well. I think it's it's more fun.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, like the module, like, yeah, I don't think there's a yes or no on modular gameplay. I just think that means that there's going to be like,
no, I
thought it was mission pack. I don't know. I'm still saying no to the mission pack because they said GHB.
It's going to be GHB. They said GHB. 40 millimeter objective markers. And objective control stat. Oh, yeah, OC stat. Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely think I go yes. I think
yes.
It's easier to like if everybody has the same objective markers. Because I tried to order objective markers from the last tournament, and they were 40K objective markers. So fun.
Should have just taken them.
Should have just taken them.
Damn.
Be like that sometimes.
Hindsight 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy. If I only knew the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be the same specifically because they're trying to make everything like more similar. They're trying to get like exactly what you were saying. We're trying to bring 40K players in. And then the objective control stat, I feel like is the best way to incentivize people of bringing battle line because if you give me a dragon or some people to stand on the ground, you best believe I want to play that dragon more than I want to play those people.
100%. I think, I definitely think we're going to get a 40 mil objective marker for all the reasons you said, as well as there's a rule in 40K where you can go through the objective marker, but you cannot finish on top of it. And that's perfect for 130 mil bases, because that means they can't just sit on it. Because like if you didn't have that rule in there, a 130 millimeter base like a Gargant, Mega Gargant, or a Zombie Dragon could just literally sit on the objective, and unless you killed them, you could not touch it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way of like, you can't sit on the middle of it. You have to sit off to the side. So at least someone else can fit there.
I can't put a spider on it.
Exactly. Or your spiders. Your spiders can't just boop and like control the entire thing. I think that was the original reason why they made them so big, was because they didn't want big models with big butts like just sitting on it and taking the whole thing from somebody. So I think this is a better way to do it, and I think they're just going to implement it. But I do not think we're going to get OC stat.
Yeah, you don't.
No. I think they're going to keep it as is. I think the wound system
is
how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. And I agree that like the calculation of OC is kind of annoying, but I think we're going to get it.
Yeah, it'd be easy. And it'd be, again, transferable between 40K and AOS, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
All
right.
Yeah.
Big one. Faction-specific commands.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
No. That's stratagem.
You don't understand.
Ew.
I'm not talking strategy. Like, what is?
That's disgusting.
What is a command ability but a faction or a unit specific stratagem?
What are you talking about?
A command ability, like your Trog has the specific command ability to give his other Trogs.
Yeah, that's on the War Scroll. And
exactly.
But it's one of the regular ones. It's not one of the special. Like it's an all-out attack. I like stock commands. If there's additional buffs, that can go in the War Scroll. That's not a different specific.
But like I'm saying, there are like a crap ton of other command abilities which let you do things. Like all my hero, like what are all of my holy commands other than faction specific command abilities?
Ugh,
they're faction specific stratagems.
I have
a thing. They're just
Don't
not
even talk to me.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying, like, every game I have to come to a person and say, hey, when you kill these guys, I'm going to spend a command point and they're going to come back. And that is a faction specific command.
Disgusting.
They're already there. You've had them. They've been in the house the whole time.
Yeah, it's gross. That's why I don't touch them. I don't even have those.
You do.
I don't. I don't. They're just baked into.
Doesn't Skrygrat have? Skrygrat's got to have one.
No, he doesn't. He just gets an extra command point every turn because he's simple.
That's honestly probably gonna be a special rule, one of those universal special rules.
Because everybody fucking has one of those guys. Lord of Inheritance got that.
Yep.
Everybody's got that shit. Everybody gets free command points.
Yep. Faction specific commands. What do you think?
Disgusting. Don't die. Die faction specific commands.
Are you saying yes or no?
Burn. No. Did super no.
No?
Yeah, no.
I'm saying they're already here and they're not going anywhere. They're already here and they're not going anywhere.
Disgusting.
What is my shooting the hero phase?
I hate you, Kyle.
What is my shooting the hero phase other than a faction specific stratagem?
I know what
it's
you're
a once
saying.
per game faction specific stratagem.
I know, but if you give me a list, if I open the fucking book and there's a list of like, oh, I can tell my goblins to hunker down and then they shit more goblins. Like I will literally freak out. I'm not even kidding.
I don't think it's gonna it's not gonna look like stratagems. You're not gonna have to memorize 60 of them.
Oh, dude, I would.
I think they're all gonna be on war scrolls. I think they're not like even my holy commands. I think those are going to a war scroll.
Yes,
because that just makes more sense. That's what they should be, and then you only have to worry about what's on the war scroll.
But I don't think that's a specific command. I think that's a war scroll ability. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a war scroll ability that costs a command point.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
it can cost that, but I just don't want it in my fucking book. You keep it out of my fucking book. You keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. I swear to God, dude. If I get stratagem, if the word stratagem is in that book,
they're not gonna say it.
I will buy one of every book and then burn it in the street.
Listen, you started looking at Ironjaw rules. How many faction specific once per game Ironjaw rules are there?
One.
What's the one that lets them move?
That's just all the time.
Yeah, well, that's just a battle trait.
That's just a battle. That's just a sub faction ability.
Okay.
You know, like cultured people. Like,
My sub factions don't matter, so I don't even think about them.
what you talk about? You get to go in the sky.
I gotta go in this
You deep strike. What
That
the
I
hell
guess
are
it
you
does kind of
talking
matter.
about? That does matter. That's your whole thing.
Yeah, it does kind of matter. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you will have faction commands. I think
Yes.
they're going to be on the war scroll.
No. Disgusting.
You're getting really hung up on this.
It's because it's gross and it's bad. For
You
the
already
game.
have them. They're already here.
I don't have them.
Everyone else has them.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Who do?
I do.
You do.
I take a specific battalion so I can have more.
Aren't you? Ugh. Disgusting.
All right. So you say no. I say it's not gonna be like stratagems, but I will say there will be units that have special command abilities like we already have in the game.
Yeah, that sounds like an annoying yes. That sounds like
Battalion line, battle line benefits.
Objective control. Basically, like, do we think that like OC is going to boon battle line units? Like, do you think your Vindictors are going to count as more on objectives because they're battle line?
I'd like that, but I don't think so. I think they tried it.
I think that they do because like you got to give a reason to have like an all chaff army. You know what I mean? Like people have those models in the same way that like other stuff does. Like, and I guess battle line is not the best way to say this here because you can make other stuff battle line. But like troop units, you know,
troop units, like pure troops, like Vindictors, like Stabas.
Yeah, Stabas, like the stuff that everybody can take as battle line. You know,
yeah,
like that stuff. I feel like needs a boon for holding objectives, or you can hold them from further away. You know, something like that. You know.
Yeah, I say no. I don't think they're. I think there's still going to be screens, and everybody's going to be okay with that.
I don't like that answer, but I agree with it. So I'm also going to say no. Next slide. Freeform predictions.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take this first one?
Yeah. I think that's like a general summation of my overall thoughts. I think it's going to be very similar to 10th edition 40K with a lot of the Age of Sigmar flavor on it, because I think their goal is to increase cross-pollination between the two games, because they realized there's not a lot of like pure people off the streets who are going to come in and just start playing Age of Sigmar who haven't played 40K before, like, or interested in playing 40K right now.
Yeah.
So I think their best bet is to get 40K people to start buying more Age of Sigmar stuff, and the best way that they can do that is make them relatively similar.
Yeah. It's also like I think there's like an evolution. Like I think 40K 10th edition took a lot from Sigmar, you know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like it took a ton from 3rd edition Sigmar, and 4th edition Sigmar is going to take a ton from 10th and then add more. And then it's like inevitably going to be like a hand-in-hand evolution of a more cohesive war game in both sides.
Yeah.
And it's I hope honestly at one point, and this may be a hot take, I honestly hope that it's almost the same game system, but like one's fantasy, one's future. You know what I mean? Like
I kind of hope that too. That is like the most unpopular take I could probably ever say, but I kind of hope that too.
Well, it's like legitimately it just becomes a more like yes, we want the games to be different, but inevitably the games are different anyway because the weapons and things like that, the interactions are going to be different. Like the game system doesn't need to be different, you know? Like the core rules can be different is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like specific seasons and, you know, scoring and things like that can all be like vastly different. But core rules, the way that like certain things interact in the game, that can all be the same.
Yeah.
Really.
Listening to that one, like 40K, like here's your intro guide thing that they said, and I was like, man, I hope we get that. Was friendly models can move through other friendly models.
Great.
As long as they're not a monster.
That's a terrible game interaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just punishing. Like let people play with their toys, make the game easier.
Agreed.
So I think like I think it's gonna get easier. I think it's gonna be very interactive, regardless of whether or not we like that. And I think it is gonna be modular in the sense that you learn one core rule system and then you pick flavors of how you want to play.
Agreed. The only other thing here is release date.
Mm-hmm.
I think mid-July. I think it's a midsummer boy.
I want to say June 22nd because that's like that's hot. You know what I mean?
Hot off the presses.
Oh yeah, that's soon.
Because then you get the whole summer. You get the whole summer.
I know.
Basically.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in July too. Like I'm going to say like mid to late July.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And then one drops. I think they're going away.
I think so
I
too.
I just think it's like you can't like they're either going to take them away or they're gonna make it so that that doesn't dictate what starts. Like you can choose.
Yeah, I think it'd be very easy for them to keep the one drop, just take away the you get to pick who goes now
Yeah,
part of the game. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Like that game interaction just stopped. Like the power of one drops is just gone because
Yeah,
it's not like that's not fun. It's not,
yeah. Well, it's like the lack of choice felt unfun. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
As someone that abuses the rule all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say and like you can look at the stats for it. The majority of people try to fit into a one or two drop because it's so impactful in the game.
It's better.
It's
It's
just
just
good.
good. Yeah.
So having a whole battalion system that basically builds up to nothing because you want to choose the one or two drop is kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you will probably be able to set up your whole army at once. It will not let you choose who goes first.
Yeah, you get some other boon for it. It's like comparable to other boons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we did it. I think we just planned fourth. I think we're 100% right. We have to be, you know.
Easy.
Even
Easy.
though we didn't agree on everything. Like
Mm-hmm. One
clear.
listen, we should have just gone 50-50. One of us would have been
Oh,
right. It would have been
dude.
sick. We would have got
So
100%
smart.
completion rate between the two of us.
Yeah. I like
True.
playing the numbers like that. But I honestly think I think we're going to see a lot more of this type of content going forward, and I'm excited to kind of go on the ride.
Oh my god, this is the best part. Like building up to it and like figuring everything out. Like they do the build up well, and like every edition, I've like always just been in the like path. I mean, maybe that's just me, but like I've always just been in the seat, like eagerly waiting for the next drop. You know what I mean? To see
Yeah,
what's going on.
this is definitely
So
the most plugged in I felt like. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like
It's good to feel plugged in and you get to like see the discourse online. Like as soon as I see a Warhammer community article that talks about a specific rule, I go like to the see the YouTubers that are talking about it. I see the Reddit like community that's like talking about it and like everyone's got hot takes, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
just like, "Oh, I know this is going to do a thing," or "My father works for Nintendo and this is how it's going to
My
work."
dad works for Nintendo, and I will keep my battle line.
Exactly, yeah. So, I'm excited. I think it's going to be good overall. I think like there's going to be some hangups. You know what I mean? Like people start to bitch about 10th a lot,
Yeah.
and I think like I would love to challenge anybody who has problems about 10th, to say like besides the 3 months of 70% Eldar win rate, what do you not like?
Yeah.
Tell me what
Which
you
is a
not like about
problem.
that.
Which, to be
Yeah,
fair,
don't get me wrong. That's terrible. But I would take that over having to buy points in a book every
yeah,
time.
I agree. That is
Because like the game system as a whole, going from that to where we are now is insane. You know what I mean? That's the fastest Games Workshop. Especially people who have been plugged into the game for like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like they can tell you, like you would go 3 years without getting like a faction book, and you would just have to play with the old rules. Like
and
you
it
just lived
sucks.
in a world like that, and it just sucked. Yeah. So like the fact that we're getting digital rule sets, the fact that there's a lot of like everything is going to be free
Yeah.
starting out.
I
You
do
know,
like that.
hopefully,
Like day one, they're giving you the tools to play the game at the rate.
yeah.
You know.
Spearhead's always going to be free. You know what I mean? Like even if you buy one box, you can then play Spearhead with people. Granted, that's probably not going to be as popular as like the 2,000 point games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
But
do.
like,
I do like Spearhead as a game too because a lot of times, and we've talked about this before, like 40 like models hold value very well. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I can buy a Spearhead box to try an army that I'm interested in, play it,
Yeah,
and if I don't like it, I can sell it. You know what I mean? And then
yep,
it's like, or if I really like it, I use that as a launching point to start building an army. You know?
yeah, and like, even though they feel a little bit slimmed out compared to like the start collecting boxes, as far as just like the actual models that you get. I was watching Honest Wargamer stream, and he was doing a price comparison between the Cities of Sigmar Vanguard because that's one of or the Spearhead because that's one of the ones that we have out currently, and like if you bought everything for like MSRP, it was like 130 pounds, and like the actual box is like 80. So it's like a great place to just like, oh, maybe you get two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they make a Seraphon one, you know what I mean? I'll probably get one. I might get two. You know what I mean? Depending on what's in there and how much I can get and like make my army out of it.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I think overall, I think the two of us are very excited and we're very hopeful. You know what I mean?
We want a good game.
we won a good game, and I think it's been a good game. And I think the people who have the reign, specifically in the Age of Sigmar rooms, like you can say what you want about the 40k people, but like they are separate departments, and they borrow from each other, but they are entirely separate. And I think the Age of Sigmar people have done a great job of keeping the balance for third edition going, as well as just like content and everything. I feel safe putting my faith in them for now. You know what I mean? Like
until they hurt me.
until they like, here's your deck of stratagems.
I would throw up, dude.
You would throw up. I think you'd start playing 40k. Where's my towel?
I honestly would.
That'd be hilarious. The circle goes around. But anyway, any last thoughts?
No, I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens, and I know that we're going to be talking about this going forward. So,
oh my
more
god,
to come.
Oh, 100%. I can't wait. But yeah, well, great talking with you, and we'll see everyone next time. Thanks for hanging out.
Peace.
Peace.